All right, let me welcome everybody tonight. My name is Miles Rapoport, and I'm the president of Demos, and we are delighted to be co-hosting this event tonight with Dissent Magazine. So thank you very much to our co-hosts, and I want to thank all of you who are coming. We're really, really glad to be not only hosting tonight's event, but to be part of what we think is the beginning of a really important conversation in this country, and that's about the nature of work, of low-wage work, fast foods industry and low-wage work, the retail industry and low-wage work, and so many other places where low-wage work is becoming the dominant way of doing things. Wasn't always that way. There was for 35 years after the end of World War II, a growing middle class, a decreasing amount of inequality. The gains of productivity were shared by workers and companies alike. And for the last 30 years, that social contract created after World War II, which didn't always include everyone, but at least was a rising sense of prosperity and a growing middle class, has been unraveled systematically, deliberately, and consistently over the last 35 years. We have income inequality levels that are now at levels that we have not seen in this country since 1913, when the federal income tax was enacted. We have a disappearing middle class. We have wildly expansive profits. The stock market went over 16,000 yesterday for the first time ever. And yet we have what some people are content to call the new normal, which is an $8 an hour economy for millions and millions of people. We believe at Demos that we need an economy that where everyone has an equal chance, a democracy where everybody has an equal say, and the outcomes that will come out of that will be much better for all of us as a society. We have been, not just tonight, but for the last year, working very hard with the retail work and the fast foods industry, the fast food workers. We've done 4 reports. Retail's Hidden Promise, which was about what would happen if Walmart and other companies raised their minimum wage by company to $12.25 an hour, and the fact that it would lift 1.5 million people out of poverty, create 130,000 new jobs, and cost them 1% on their costs. We did a report called Underwriting Bad Jobs, which is about the fact that on the federal, that over 2 million workers in the country on federal contracts are being paid low-wage, $8 an hour, dead-end job work, and that could be undone with a stroke of the pen with an executive order by President Obama. I haven't heard that he's done it yet, but we're waiting. We're waiting. We've also done and released today a report that says a higher wage is possible, which simply argues, and Amy Traub from Demos will talk about this, that if Walmart, instead of buying back its stock, plow that money into the workforce and into training and into wages, that in and of itself would go over the $12.25 an hour figure that we called for last year. So the bad news is that for many people this is an acceptable state of affairs. For all of you, I don't think it is. For Demos, it certainly isn't. And wonderfully, for more and more of the workers in those industries, unions who represent people in those industries, organizations who are out fighting to organize in those industries, I think we are really, really about to enter a new phase of the discussion in this country about whether being an $8 economy is really what the United States of America believes itself to be about. And so we're delighted to have representatives of the organizing efforts on this. And Josh Eidelson will introduce them. So I will just introduce Josh, who is a terrific writer on labor and the affairs of the workforce, has won a Sidney Hillman Award for work that he did on Walmart for the Nation, appears in Salon and many, many other places, and generally is somebody who is, on the one hand, a great reporter, and on the other hand, passionate about the issues he covers, and it is possible to do both. So with that, let me introduce Josh Eidelson, and thank everybody for coming.
We are meeting at a difficult time for the labor movement in the U.S. I was writing this morning about the situation at Boeing out in Washington State, where you have an iconic example of a group of workers who, if you believe there is such a thing as a middle class in the United States, have wrung a piece of it through years and years of strikes, through going on strike over and over. These are workers who have advantages that many other workers don't. both because of their willingness to go on strike over and over and because of the relative difficulty of replacing machinists at Boeing. These are workers who won a comparatively tremendous standard of living for themselves and now are on defense. And because of our political system and our economic system, face a real threat in terms of their ability to avoid seeing the slow motion rewind of everything that people won there in the past. So that's one example of the way in which we're at a moment of tremendous and often unexpected vulnerability in the US labor movement. You can see states like Michigan and Wisconsin, which were the birthplaces of private sector and public sector unionism, respectively, arguably, in the United States, become sites of really devastating defeats for the labor movement. At the same time that we've seen this unexpected vulnerability, though, we've seen some real unexpected vitality. We've seen what can fairly be called uprisings in non-union, low-wage areas of the economy, including retail and fast food. Uprisings against companies like McDonald's and Walmart, which it might be more comfortable to say typify low-wage work in the United States, but which we can honestly say are increasingly representative of work in the United States writ large. That if labor cannot in some way wrangle companies like McDonald's and Walmart, then there's going to be a very cramped future for the labor movement and for working people and for economic democracy, for democracy more broadly in the United States. So these movements among fast food workers and among Walmart workers are striking. They are historic. They've secured some striking gains, from a manager being suspended to the inspiration for other workers to go on strike, like a group of pork truckers we saw strike this week, to, in one case in Florida, a Walmart store paying workers for time during which those workers were out on strike. That said, these movements face tremendous challenges, including how you sustain and grow an organization in the face of an ever-present and very real threat and reality of retaliation, how you build from what might be called minority unionism to involving a larger group of the workforce beyond a courageous minority, and how you get companies that are more willing to give away money to solve problems to actually give away power when that means fundamentally changing their business model. So I'm delighted to get to have this conversation with our panelists here today. Patricia Locks, a Walmart worker activist, Naquasia LeGrand, a KFC worker activist. Naquasia is doing double duty because Kendall Fells of Fast Food Forward is out sick. And Silvia Fabela of the Making Change at Walmart campaign tied to the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, as well as Amy Traub of Demos, the author of one of the reports that was just mentioned by Miles. So very glad to have the conversation. Looking forward to questions from the audience. And we will start with Patricia.
Okay. Hi, my name is Patricia Locks. I've been with Walmart for 11 years. I am a proud member of the Our Walmart United for Respect in Seattle. I'm a sales associate in sporting goods department, and I make $13.10 an hour. But my schedule isn't always the same. Sometimes I work 32 to 35 hours per week. That means it's hard to plan because my paycheck isn't always the same. After the things that I have to pay, like rent, car insurance, gas, utilities, I have roughly $260 left to cover necessities like school expenses, toiletries, food, laundry. And that's if I get 35 hours per week. I make roughly $18,000 a year. And I'm only able to make it because of a monthly child support check that I receive. After I pay my rent, I have to decide which bills I absolutely must pay that month. I joined our Walmart because associates aren't treated fairly. We are asked to do way more than we can handle. For example, there is only one associate scheduled for 3 service areas. And for me, that means that sometimes I have to cut fabric, make paint, cut keys, make fishing licenses, hunting licenses, on top of ringing out people and keeping my area neat and getting my returns. And yet we are all struggling just to get by. We are expected to do way more than one job, but we hardly get paid for one. Being a single parent, I can't afford their health care. And when I went to the hospital in 2009 with pneumonia, I was admitted for 5 days. When I called my manager, I was told I need to go and fill out the paperwork or it would be considered unexcused. My bill was $26,000. I couldn't let them garnish my wages, I could let them garnish my wages, but then I couldn't make my rent, so I had to file for bankruptcy. And I know I'm not the only one that has experienced these issues. Our Walmart has proved to all of us associates that we all have similar stories because we can talk to each other. Me and my coworkers have been speaking out about wages, scheduling, and respect, but instead of hearing our concerns, Walmart retaliates against us. They cut our hours and they give new associates the hours that we've been asking for. And they have fired or disciplined nearly 100 our Walmart leaders. It's depressing and scary, and no one who works for one of the world's largest and wealthiest companies should have to live like this. I don't think it's asking too much to earn enough, so I don't have to rely on food banks and other assistance to survive. And that's why I'm going to keep fighting, because I want a better life for me and my daughter. Thank you for...
Thank you. Thank you, Patricia. Naquasia?
Hello. You can hear me? You know? You can hear me? All right. My name is Naquasia LeGrand, and I work at KFC. I've been working at KFC for about 2 years now, and I only get paid $7.70 an hour. 13, you said? Wow. I see everybody need help, no matter what you're getting. It's like whether it's $7 or $13. Well, I've been working at KFC, like I said, for 2 years for $7.70. Don't get me wrong, I'm blessed for my job that I have because it does put money in my pocket. But I'm doing more than what I'm supposed to. Like, I signed up, I filled the application to be a cashier, but let alone that I'm a cashier, a cook, a clean, maintenance, a gardener. Like, yeah, we go outside and pick up the weeds from the ground. Like, I don't know how that goes with my job, only getting paid $7.70. I think I should have like $2, $3 more for that, but right now that's what I'm getting. And the reason that I'm, here fighting is because I'm just sick and tired of being sent home early, money stolen out my check because they didn't give me a break, so they feel like they should take the break out on their own. Or I'm tired of having to pay for my uniform when you're not even giving me enough hours to even get my uniform. Or, just the disrespect as, a hard-working person, because I work very hard, but not work hard to get disrespected by my manager, So that's what brings me here today, and it's just that I believe, it's time for a change, and we do deserve more. These are billion-dollar companies. There's no reason why I should be only making $7.70 an hour. Just my last check, I only got $70. Mind you, 30 of that supposed to go to a Metro card for me to get to work back and forth. So now, tell me what I'm supposed to do with that $40 to pay for, mind you, I gotta pay for rent, I gotta put food in the house. I am living with my grandmother, my aunt, and my little cousin. So, I do help and support my household, but how I'm supposed to do that for just $40 left of the week? Mind you, like I said, rent, phone bill, food. I'm supposed to do all that with $40? I don't think so. So it's like something gotta give, because I work too damn hard just to be getting only $70 a week. That's not gonna cut it. So that's the reason why I'm here today, because like I said, it needs to be it needs to be a change. There's no reason why, you know, I'm 22 years old. Like, KFC is not somewhere I want to be all my life, but at the same time, it's just a start. You got to start from the bottom to get where you want to be in life. And KFC right now is not going to do that for me. You know, I do want to go back to school, but it's like, at the same time, I got to survive out here. I can't go to school broke either. I got to pay for either tuition or books or something. So it's like, you know, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to have to, you know, for the better, for the future, you know, for the kids. You know, when my kids, you know, decide they want to come and work, I don't want them working for only $7.70. And, you know, and right now, I can't even have kids. I would love to have a family. I would love to have a spot of my own, like, you know, live on my own and still be able to help my grandmother support her household. But I can't do that. I can't even support myself. So that's the reason why I'm here today.
Thanks, Naquasia. Silvia, you want to follow that?
Great, thank you. Like Josh said, my name is Silvia Fabela. I'm with the UFCW's Making Change at Walmart campaign. The Making Change at Walmart is a coalition of Walmart associates, union members, small business owners, religious and community leaders, all who believe that changing Walmart is really essential to changing the future of our country. As Patricia mentioned, she is a proud leader of the organization United for Respect, or for short, Our Walmart. And Patricia can tell you more about the symbol. But over the last 2 years, Walmart associates and their supporters have really been leading the movement to turn our economy around. They've been fighting to put an end to part-time, temporary, and low-wage work that keeps families struggling and holds our economy back. More specifically, our Walmart has been calling for a minimum of $25,000 per year for full-time work, and an end to the retaliation against workers who speak out for making those changes. In June, I'm sure, hopefully many of you have heard, over 100 Walmart associates went on the first ever 2-week prolonged strike, so 2 weeks out of work. And it was modeled much on the Freedom Rides of 1963, where Walmart associates jumped on a bus for 2 weeks and traveled on 6 caravans and buses ranging from Seattle, Southern California, Boston, Southern Florida, and really drove up and made stops along the way where they were meeting with community activists, meeting with supporters, folks that generally supported them and wanted to meet the courageous Walmart strikers. They had events at Walmart stores, and more importantly, they picked up additional strikers along the way. And it really was modeled on the Freedom Rides. It was really interesting to watch, actually. Associates returned to work for about 10 days. They were greeted as heroes amongst their colleagues, which I'll let Patricia tell you more about later, but they really earned the respect and admiration of other associates who saw that they were really accomplishing things. It was only about 10 days after everyone returned to work that we really started to see an uptick in Walmart, either disciplining or firing the associates that went on strike. And so, in response to that, in early September, around September 5th, our Walmart held 15 events across the country where over 100 workers and community leaders engaged in civil disobedience. That was the largest day of action that we've seen since last Black Friday 2012, with over 3,000 supporters turning out, and it was really great to watch. Actually, we took over Twitter and Facebook, and it was a really, really remarkable day. With the company, though, not responding to our Walmart's call to end the retaliation, associates in Los Angeles just about 3 weeks ago, the first week in November, Walmart associates went on strike in Los Angeles, which started to create another wave of momentum coming off of the strikes that Josh mentioned happened in Hialeah, Florida. And so since November 6th, we've seen Walmart associates in Seattle, Chicago, Dallas, and just yesterday in Ohio go on strike. All of them were raising the same issues of calling for the $25,000 for full-time work and an end to the illegal retaliation. Earlier this month, Charmaine Givens-Thomas, who is an Our Walmart leader from Chicago, Illinois, actually put out a petition. Charmaine marched with Martin Luther King Jr., and she put out a petition calling on the president to meet with our Walmart associates because when he was running for office, he made a lot of promises and commitments to working people and to Walmart associates in particular. And so I'd like to take a quick second and just read a quick quote that he committed to associates. He said, "I don't mind speaking up for workers and letting Walmart know that they need to pay a decent wage and let folks organize. This is about reminding Walmart that the well-being of their workers and other workers should matter to them." So our Walmart, it's become clear to our Walmart that the president isn't having enough conversations with everyday people. And so this petition, as of this morning, had over 78,000 signatures calling on the president to meet with Main Street and hear what it's like to work at Walmart, to hear what it's like to have a full-time job and still have to rely on assistance just to get by. And our Walmart associates, they voted for him, and they really believe that it's important for him to understand why these changes need to happen, particularly in the light of the recent NLRB ruling that Walmart over the last year and a half has in fact been breaking the law and retaliating illegally against workers. And just as we head into Black Friday, because we are just 10 days out now, 9? Yikes. It's been really amazing to watch the outpouring of community activists coming forward and saying, look, we want to do stuff, we want to help support our Walmart. There's no argument to be made about why Walmart needs to change. So much it is community members, organizations, et cetera, people coming forward and saying, what can we do to help? So, over the last probably 10 days, we've seen just an uptick of hundreds of people coming to us every day wanting to know what they can do. So. Shameless plug, blackfridayprotest.org. You can just pop in there, you can type your zip code in and find an action near you, or more importantly, download the materials and host an action near you. So that is what I have. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you. Amy?
I think I need to sign that petition. I haven't done that yet. Give you another one. It's really clear to anyone listening today and hearing about these fights that at Walmart, at the fast food chains, at all of these massive companies in low-wage industries, workers deserve to be paid more. It's really a deeply held American value that people who work hard should be able to support their families and move ahead in the world. People really believe that, and I think you've got us there. What I don't think is as widely understood is that raising wages for low-paid workers is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. And it's smart not just for workers and for their families, but really for the economy as a whole, for our communities, and even for many of the companies that are fighting against these wage increases right now. So let me start by saying a few words about Walmart in particular, because my colleague Catherine Ruchlin and I, who is sitting up front, hi Kat, have just completed some new research on Walmart. And we looked at billions of dollars that Walmart is spending every year on some really unproductive financial maneuvers. We found that if the company redirected this money towards investments in its workforce, they could provide very substantial raises without raising prices for consumers at all, not a penny. And we make the case that actually it would benefit Walmart a lot to do this. So here's the bottom line. Walmart spends $7.6 billion just in the last year, $7.6 billion, buying back shares of its own stock. Now, this is a Wall Street financial maneuver that makes shares of the stock worth more, at least in the short term, even though the company as a whole is not worth any more. The share buybacks, so they didn't make Walmart a more productive company. They didn't increase Walmart's overall value, and they definitely didn't lower prices for consumers or anything like that. Financial experts suggest that share buybacks, in the long run, they don't even end up benefiting the investors they're supposed to invest. They're supposed to be benefiting. But Walmart spent $7.6 billion on this in 2012 alone. And it spent $36 billion on share buybacks in the previous 4 years. So this is a reoccurring stream of money that Walmart is directing in this way. It's a lot of Walmart money that's going to Wall Street, not to the stores, not to the customers, and definitely not to the Walmart workers. If Walmart did reinvest that money in its low-paid workforce, it could give every one of the estimated 825,000 employees at the company who are paid less than $25,000 a year, a raise of $5.83 an hour. Now, that's a huge wage increase. Workers who are making, say, $9.06 now, which is what the typical employee of a large retailer in the US earns, they could be earning $14.89 an hour. So that sounds like the fight for 15. I mean, it's very close to 15. The research shows that raising employee pay would also have benefits for Walmart itself. It's a massive and highly profitable company, but Walmart's US sales have been disappointing over the last year. A number of reports in the business press have noted that Walmart is actually losing customers because its stores are disorganized and understaffed. And what we heard from Patricia, it's clear why they would be. Like, if you're expecting one person to do 3 jobs, of course your store is going to end up not being as well done as it could be if you actually had 3 people doing 3 jobs. So investing in frontline workers could make a big difference here. If employees were given more hours and were paid more, Walmart wouldn't have 500,000 workers quitting every year that it then needs to replace and train their replacements. Better paid, longer-term employees would be more productive, and they could operate the stores better and start to attract customers back. Now, there's a deeper reason that Walmart sales have been disappointing, and this really gets us to the fast food fight as well. And that's that the economy is still rotten for most Americans. I don't think that's a news flash for anyone here. It's almost 4.5 years since the recession officially ended, but the typical working age household is still earning incomes lower than what they made all the way back in 2000. And when profitable companies like Walmart or McDonald's or Yum Brands that owns KFC, when they pay so little to their employees that the employees can't afford a decent standard of living, businesses everywhere across our economy see lower sales. No one has money to spend. Across the economy, companies don't have demand for their goods and services, and so of course they're not going to hire more workers, and unemployment stays high. At this rate, we never get the economy out of the dumpster that it's in, and that really affects all of us, no matter where we work. Now, this economy is clearly working for at least some people. The 6 heirs to the Walton fortune, the family that inherited money and Walmart stock from the company's founder, they have a combined net worth now. I didn't check the figures today. They do change a lot, usually going up. But last time I checked, they had a combined net worth of $144 billion. And last year alone, they took in more than $2.5 billion just from their dividends on Walmart stock. Now, one thing their share buybacks did was enable the Walton family to consolidate their holdings of Walmart stock so that now they control more than half of the company. I want to just kind of conclude by saying that there are alternatives to this. Companies could just decide to raise wages. Walmart could look at the terrible PR that they're getting from the strikes, the flagging sales, and the high rate of turnover that they have, and decide to start paying people more. Yum Brands could tell its franchisees, its KFC franchisees, its other franchisees, that it will cut their franchise costs if they pay higher wages. All of these big profitable companies can just make a different business decision, and in many cases it makes a lot of sense for them to do that. At the same time, our elected officials can also act. We can raise the minimum wage, so at least the floor is a little bit higher. The good news is that states and cities across the country are doing that right now. We should also pass legislation to make it easier for workers to do exactly what workers here have taken a lot of risks to do, to band together and get a fair deal at work. If we made it easier for workers to organize and bargain for better wages, people would have more money to spend. When the Waltons get another $2.6 billion, they don't rush out and spend that money and stimulate the economy. But when frontline workers get another dollar in their wallets, they go straight to the grocery store, probably Walmart. They go to the pharmacy for medicine. They go to the shoe store to replace a pair of shoes that wore out months ago. And that money then recirculates in our economy and creates jobs. I had a chance over the summer to address the U.S. Senate Banking Committee, and I sat beside billionaire entrepreneur Nick Hanauer. He is the richest person I've ever sat next to, for sure, by a long shot. Hanauer has started dozens of companies, he's hired many people, and he's the kind of person who is always getting called a job creator. But he made the point that if there were no customers to buy his products, he wouldn't be selling anything, and he definitely wouldn't be hiring anyone. He made the point that the real job creators in America are the middle-class consumers, and we need more of them. We need a bigger middle class and more jobs that allow people to achieve that standard of living, middle-class standard of living. Right now, some of the fastest growing industries in this country are in the service sector, in industries that are represented right here, like retail and restaurants. These are not some marginal jobs in our economy that are only for teenagers or people who aren't supporting families. They're increasingly the core of our economy. But when we think about the kinds of jobs we think of as good jobs, manufacturing jobs, we need to remember that those weren't always good jobs either. Working on an auto assembly line, honestly, I have never done it, but it sounds like it was pretty terrible work until workers organized the UAW and fought to improve wages and working conditions. And so now with this really difficult and challenging work that our Walmart and Fast Food Forward are doing, we can make the jobs that we have now into the kinds of jobs that really support the economy for all of us.
Thank you, Amy, and thanks again to each of our panelists, as well as our co-sponsors from Dissent and Demos.